Training camp starts tomorrow. What are we looking forward to watching when the Spurs get back to work?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, this is Chris Sabat, and you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs and the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kens 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you back. Happy Monday, everybody. Or should I say happy training camp eve? Yeah, can you believe it? Tomorrow is training camp. We're going to talk about that, some storylines. It's two that we're looking forward to watching from your silver and black. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts. Kens 5 Plus app, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, the list goes on and on. You guys are the everydayers, and we appreciate you making Locked On Spurs your first stop each and every week. So yeah, lots to talk about. Media Day is today, so you're pretty sure you're going to see a flood of stuff from the Spurs. We're going to be talking about their season, Wemby. Gee, I wonder if that's going to be a topic. So much more. Right, by the way, no shocker. We'll be talking about Wemby in just a few minutes as well. So, yeah, you got to think about that, as well as, too, what we're going to talk about is the playing style. With so many players that can play different positions, different styles, which one will be optimal for this young Spurs squad? Before we get into all that, hey, like I said, training camp opens tomorrow. There's so many things to be looking forward to. We're going to be talking about, too, but you as a fan, as a paying customer, one thing I would expect you to have as far as maybe higher expectations. Perhaps last season you give them a pass. We know what it was about, and it worked out. The draft lottery odds getting pumped up, and sure enough, the basketball got small on the Spurs, and they got Wemby. So now I'm pretty sure you don't want to go through that again. Another down season. The Spurs have had so many in a row already. You're hoping now that you see that arrow start ticking up. So perhaps it should be okay if you perhaps have a more critical eye about this team. Be a little bit more, upping the bar, so to speak, about where this team is going if moving forward. They have a lot of draft capital. They have a lot of money. They have, a lot of flippable players still on the roster. And perhaps you should be thinking about, okay, how can this team get better? And look, it's okay to voice your opinion. You go on social media, you see a lot of Spurs fans bickering all the time, who put you GM and who didn't make you GM. But at the end of the day, you guys are the fans. You guys are the paying customers, I said. So it's okay. It's all right if you have a critical eye. That's fine. Look, some Spurs fans just wear silver and Spurs glasses, color glasses, and San Antonio can do never wrong. And guess what? They're not wrong either. They're right. If that's how they want to do their fandom, that's great. But enough of the bickering. It's a clean slate. Let's get this show on the road. Let's get out of the rebuild faster. Yes, they're still in the rebuild. And let's get back to championship basketball, or at least a deep playoff run as we've experienced for quite some time in San Antonio. It's been too long, right? It's been too long since we've seen the postseason, since the Spurs and City of San Antonio celebrating Fiesta and playoffs at the same time. So we need to get that tradition back. So if you're a fan with a critical eye, good for you. You're a fan that are not so critical eye and just have silver and black sunglasses, that's okay too. So I'll get together. As the Spurs are doing training camp to get the rust out, you all fans should be doing the same thing. Come together, get that rust out, and move forward. Hey, so with enough of that, let's go ahead and bring in our guest. He is my colleague at Kens 5 San Antonio. The Vin Dog is back. There's the Vin Dog. Vinnie Vinzetta, my colleague. Follow him on Twitter at VVinzetta. What's going on, Vin Dog?
As you said, we're on the eve of training camp. Enough with this draft hype and draft talk and all that kind of stuff. And Wemby checking out murals and going to the Root Pub. Let's put all that aside and let's practice some NBA basketball and get ready.
Vinny, I'm at the point already where I already heard all the hype already. I got to see him walk the walk now. I got to see it. I have to see it now. Is he going to live up to that? And that's a perfect segue to get into the first topic, what to expect. Vinny, I'll start things out since we're on the Wemby topic right now, and I am going to be watching for Victor, how he's going to adapt to the NBA scene, how he's going to mesh with his teammates. Look, And it goes both ways too. Last season, Vinny, it was all about your Sohans, your Vassels when he was healthy, your Keldons and whatnot. They're going to have to start transitioning away from that. Sohan's probably not going to get a lot of calls made for him. Devin, neither. Keldon, probably not. Keldon was the supposed face of the franchise. He's not anymore. That's shifting to Wemby. How are they going to adjust to that? And of course, Wemby having to shoulder the expectations. And those shoulders, by the way, are 19 years old still. Let's not forget that. He's still a teenager. So to see him develop, to see him get ready, we're going to get a good gauge once the preseason starts. And then we'll take it from there. But Vinny, we're focusing on looking at that main storyline, that being Victor Wembanyama. Something tells me it's not just going to last in training camp. That storyline is going to be the entire season, perhaps his entire career, Vinny.
There hasn't been a training camp like this, Jeff, since 1997 when they drafted that guy named Tim Duncan. I mean, literally all eyes will be on Victor Wembanyama, and rightfully so, and everybody will understand that. I mean, he has transcended really everything that the NBA is this summer. So, everybody will be having an eye on him just because he's 7'3" or 4 or whatever it officially is. But I mean, it's going to be a joyous time over there. And I mean that from the standpoint of, let's see what we got. I mean, everybody wants to see him in action. And you have, overseas and in Summer League a little bit.
Right, yeah.
But everybody's going to want to see who he is, how he looks around people like Devin and Keldon and Sohan and all these kind of guys, and how they mix and mesh with him. And I kind of wish in a way that the NBA preseason was longer this year, so we'd have more time to sort of mix and mesh and figure out how all these pieces are going to work. But I can't wait. I mean, I wasn't here in 97 when Timmy came aboard, so I don't know what that experience was like. But when I think about Wemby and a brand new practice facility and expectations and the young pieces, I mean, this is just a phenomenally exciting time for the San Antonio Spurs. It's great.
It is. I was around San Antonio when Tim Duncan came, and yes, there was a lot of hoopla. There was a lot of pomp and circumstance. Alamo Plaza was filled with Spurs fans, but never like this. This surpassed him. And it's look, I mean, national media, global media is descending upon San Antonio. You're seeing reports of global and national media moving to San Antonio to live throughout the entire Spurs season. So that's how big it is. You didn't see that for Tim Duncan at all. I mean, technically, I guess Tim Duncan's international Virgin Islands, but nevertheless, it's a different level. The closest perhaps you got is maybe Tony Parker, but this is just unreal. And the good news is, Vinny, as far as on the court, is that prior to tomorrow's start of training camp, is that the team has been doing voluntary mini camps. Zach Collins spoke about that, and I believe with Richard Jefferson on Jefferson's podcast, saying that, they're coming together. They've already been meshing with one another. Wemby's been a part of that. Dominic Barlow talked about how he never thought he'd be the shortest person in the room when he had to look up to Wemby. So they're getting used to accustomed to him playing along their side. But we talked about, we brought it up right now about last year's players having to perhaps take a step back, perhaps. Why do I feel that that's not going to be a problem? Like perhaps that step back will maybe make them feel a little more comfortable in their role.
Well, I go back to what Sohan said, however long ago it was, that mixing and meshing with Wemby is going to be unbelievable. I mean, the prospects are there. So I think all of those guys, and I'm trying to recall the last time we talked to Keldon. Oh, I talked to him at his summer camp over the summer. I think all of the guys like your Keldons and your Devins and your Sohans and all those guys, they are over the moon excited to play with Wemby and to see how it's going to work. I mean, those guys understand the potential.
Absolutely.
I think the enthusiasm is just off the charts for how this is going to work, and not so much us, but the guys that are already there on that roster, the guys inside the building. They believe this is really going to be potentially something special.
Absolutely. And it all starts tomorrow. The Wemby era begins in less than 24 hours. Hey, when we get back, I'm going to ask Vinny, what is his storyline? What is he going to be looking out for during training camp? Will it be perhaps a point guard battle? Will it be something else? We'll find out right here on Locked On Spurs with Vinnie Vinzetta. Hey, are you always just getting frustrated trying to buy those tickets that you want to go and see, whether it's a concert or a sporting event or whatnot? Look, you don't have to worry about that when you're buying tickets to your next big event. This is where Game Time kicks in. Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Get those killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the best price guaranteed. Game Time takes all the guesswork out of buying tickets. So if you're looking for those last-minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals, views from the seats from the venue, the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, they have it all at Game Time. You want to get the Game Time app right now. Look, Spurs season is right around the corner. Get those tickets to any game you want. WNBA era is here. Go check it out by using the Game Time app. So, look, you can buy tickets in seconds in just 2 taps with the Game Time app. All-in prices show your total up front, so you know what you're getting, a great deal without those hidden fees. Basically, you know exactly what to expect. Game Time has deal on tickets right up to the start of the event, even hour after it starts. It's the place to find those last-minute seats. Get those flash deals. Get those sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And with zone deals, you pick the section and Game Time picks the seat for an average of an 18% savings. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section or row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create that account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with my colleague at Ken's 5. He is Vinnie Vinzetta. We call him the Vin Dog. Make sure to follow him on X at VVinzetta. You see it there on your screen. And we're talking about training camp. Starts tomorrow. Can you believe it? It is here already. And guess what? Ken's 5 will have all the coverage for you throughout the entire Spurs season. Vinny, myself, and the rest of the crew, we have your back. Don't worry. Don't go anywhere. But we're talking about training camp. So I talked about the obvious, that being Wemby. He is perhaps the biggest storyline heading into training camp. Vinny, what is your storyline?
Jeff, I've said this before. I'm on the Malachi Branham train. Just love that guy. He just has that silky smooth look out there. Like, he looks the part in every which way. Always got a smile on his face, very positive, says the right things. He gets it. He gets it as far as the way the Spurs want to do business. And just, again, on the court, so impressive with his IQ, his knowledge. He can knock down the mid-range jumper, the three. He can attack the basket. I just am really curious to see how far he can go. And again, I don't want anybody to sleep on a player like Malachi or others, because all the concentration and focus from the outside world is going to be on the number 1 draft pick. We all get that. But I just am not as critical as others have been. There are some pieces here still. And maybe Wembanyama is the guy that brings all that together. But Malachi Branham is a guy that I just really enjoy watching play NBA basketball.
Look, Wemby is going to do wonders for his teammates, but one guy that can really benefit is Malachi. He's a how many level scorer? He can get to the rim. He can get to the free throw line. He can get from the mid range. He can get from the 3 line. And now you throw in a Wemby at his side, and that gravity that Wemby's going to attract, that sucking in the defense. I mean, Malachi could feast. He could feast. I mean, with his style of play and in his IQs you mentioned, and his willingness to get better, as we saw in the summer league. I think Malachi is going to be perhaps one of the biggest beneficiaries of Wemby. Look, everybody's going to benefit from him. I think they're on the court. But Malachi could really, really, really be a nice little 1-2 combo with Wemby. Your thoughts?
Completely agree. Completely agree. When he draws defenders, when he draws defense, more than one guy, there are going to be open shots with Victor Wembanyama. As much as we saw it in France and in Summer League, it's only going to be that much more amplified in the NBA game. Yeah, so he is a guy that absolutely, he moves without the basketball. He knows where to pick his spots, and so yes, he'll be open, as will as will other guys. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
the world of possibilities are just infinite to how this thing may work. Now, they've got to get out there and figure this thing out and see what's going to work. But yeah, there will be some guys that should absolutely benefit from Wembanyama's style of play, and just when you consider the defense that Victor will draw.
Yeah. And look, Malachi, Wemby himself, everybody's going to have to adjust on this roster because the Spurs now have a potential, all generational player. This is it. This is here. We'll see. He hasn't earned it yet. He has the label, but he hasn't earned that label quite yet. So you look at Wemby, you look at Malachi, as you brought up. Another storyline thing I'm going to be watching for in training camp is the point guard spot. I think that is really huge right now. After the Spurs, in my opinion, Vinny, I don't know how you felt. I was a little surprised the Spurs let go of Campaign. I thought he would stick on at least for a good chunk of the season. But now he's away. He's gone. That leaves Trey Jones, Blake Wesley, perhaps Malachi. You don't know. That point guard spot is really going to be fun to watch how that sorts out. Or they might even just go positionless, Vinny.
Yeah, I mean, the room is a little bit stacked. They have options there, and I don't know. I want to toss this back your way. What about Mr. Sohan running some point guard?
Oh yeah,
I mean, there seems to be conversation about that.
Wouldn't be surprised. You saw it. I saw it. The rest of the Spurs fan base saw it. Sohan at point, and this is something that the Spurs have been doing for a while, not just with Sohan, but with these kind of in-betweener, these 4-3-4 guys. Keldon Johnson, when he was in Austin to start his career, I remember speaking with him, and he's saying, they wanted me to become more of a facilitator. We saw that. They wanted that role to be Keldon's at first. And when Sohan came aboard, they put the ball in his hand, and he did pretty well. So part of me thinks that although Trey Jones will be the stabilizing point guard, I would not be surprised if it's almost point guard by committee. What do you think?
I would not disagree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see where Trey's learning curve continues to go, and I assume it will continue to trend up. But I just, in the limited time that Sohan was running point, I just felt like he was in command and in control.
Oh, for sure.
And he just sort of has that moxie. I think he understands what you need to do as a point guard. And in today's NBA, I don't know if it's necessarily LeBron-esque, but I love a point guard with some height. It just seems to be an extra added dimension to your possibilities.
Yeah. Reminds me of the old George Gervin days, that tall Magic Johnson, that big guards.
Yes.
So Sohan is that. And the crazy thing about it is Sohan out of college, out of Baylor, was known just for a defender. And here he is running point, getting buckets, getting into scraps. By the way, I heard he doesn't want to even test that ground with you, Vinny. Like he said, I don't want to have anything with the Vin dog. But what a revelation he's turning out to be. I'm looking forward to his leap next season. And again, I think we're going to see how. One thing I'm interested in seeing though when the regular season starts is the plus minus on off the court when Victor's not on the court and on the court, and how that really affects the numbers. That's something I'm going to be watching for as the regular season starts. But training camp starts tomorrow. Again, Ken's 5 right here. We'll give you coverage throughout the entire training camp, regular season, preseason, so many more other games ahead. Don't forget, Ken's 5 is the official TV home of your Silver and Black. And when we get back, we're going to talk about what style of play the Spurs will be doing, and to catch you up with some very interesting Spurs news and notes regarding a former player. Talk about that right here on Locked On Spurs with Vinnie Vinzetta. Hey, you want to go to Mudslinger's Drive-Thru Coffee right now. If you're in San Antonio, you want the best coffee, you want to go to Mudslinger's, located at 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. That's in the Stone Oak area, 281-1604. Open every single day, Monday through Monday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. They got everything you want. Dairy alternatives, the best coffee in San Antonio. The signature drink called the Mudslinger. You got to get that. And also a variety of new delicious flavors popping up almost weekly. They have the Red Bull infused Lightning Bolt series. That'll get your good day going and get you powered through your work week. Or you want to take it easy, try the OG. That's the old school Orange Julius, recreated only at Mudslinger's Drive-Thru Coffee, Look, they're a proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs and the first one to do it, and they proudly serve the San Antonio community each and every single day. Over 300 5-star reviews cannot be wrong. They have a friendly staff, an extensive menu. They got great donuts. Everybody raves about the donuts. Or if you just want something simple, short, sweet, go there right now. They'll get something for you quick, fast, and delicious. Again, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive, 281 to 1604 area. Life is too short for bland coffee, but don't forget to check them out on TikTok, also on the X, also on Instagram, also on Facebook. They are everywhere. Once again, go to Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee because life is too short for bland coffee. And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Vinnie Vinzetta. He is my colleague at Kent's 5 San Antonio. He is a sports reporter. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at VVinzetta. We're talking about silver and black. Shockingly, I know Locked On Spurs, right? But training camp also is going to provide us, Vinny, with a glimpse of what possible style the Spurs are going to be looking at. We know defensively they're going to get a lot better than simply just Wemby's presence. But offensively, could we see the return of 4 down, Tim Duncan? Or is this going to be run and gun, old ABA style, Doug Moe back in the old hemisphere style? Vinny, your thoughts?
I think everybody understands that the NBA is different now, and we shoot a lot of threes and get up and down. I mean, it's a lot more exciting for the fans. But when you say 4 down, I think, I mean, I'm not saying at all times, but at times. Because in watching Wembanyama in France and maybe even a little bit in the summer league, he can function really well in a half-court set. And he's such a weapon with the length. I think more about the length at times than the height. And I know both of those are a product of each other. But with the length, I mean, why not run some half-court sets and, almost let him like Jokic from the Nuggets? I mean, find people that are going to be probably wide open. But when you have that kind of length, when you have the opportunity to run. I mean, this edition of Victor Wembanyama begs transition basketball like never before for the San Antonio Spurs. So you get a clean rebound. Let's go and let's use those pieces because we've already seen, obviously, pieces like Keldon and Devin Vassell can function really well in the open court and transition basketball.
Yeah, Devin Vassell, forgive me for not remembering who he spoke with, but he did speak to a different outlet about the style of play. And he would like to see the Spurs just get out and go. Like whoever gets the rebound, that's the guy that's running the break. Whether it's Wemby, whether it's Sohan, whether it's KJ, whoever. Just grab the ball and let's go. We know that Wemby can run the floor. We've seen that in Summer League. We saw that in France. So that's not going to be an issue. I think this team could be very intimidating in the open court. And one thing that I think that doesn't get highlighted enough is that last season's core, your Sohan, Vassell, Keldon, all those guys, the whole team just took a beating. Multiple losing streaks, getting just curb stomped. But along the way, they were picking up some valuable lessons. I really think that's going to convert this coming season, that they're going to say, hey, we've been through this before. We know how to run a set out of the half court in a pressure cooker game. We get this. And I think that's going to just really propel the Spurs team to more W's next season. I know Vegas has their thing. I think Vegas, Vinny, they have them pegged at 28 games win total. I think they might get high 30s. I think they could get there. So I think you couple all that together. They got themselves a good franchise type player who can run. All right. Who they're going to take these lessons they learned last season, pass them on to Victor, and let's go. And I think that still the only thing I don't think they need that they don't have yet is that perimeter threat. I know Doug McDermott is there. Reggie Bullock, 3-and-D guy, but I would love to see some of the other guys, your Keldon, your Devins, your Trey Jones, up that 3-point percentage.
Yeah, and let me be the first to say, yes, give me the over all day long.
Give me the over that. Yeah,
win total. And I got an interesting email, Jeff, this week, and I don't recall which PR group it came from, but it was who was the term might have been the hardest working team in the NBA last season. The point being, which team covered the most mileage in a game over the season. back and forth, up and down the court. And really, not to my surprise, the San Antonio Spurs were listed as number one as the team that put the most ground game in and game out. So, to Devin's point, maybe they really will embrace this, get the basketball and go.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be their best style moving forward. We'll see how it pans out. We're not going to be surprised if Pop maybe experiments a little bit, especially in the preseason. Look, everybody, preseason games don't matter. They don't count. Just think of them as glorified training camps where they're inviting another team to practice with. That's all it's about. Yep. So take it with a grain of salt. When it matters is when the ball goes up against Dallas at the Frostbank Center, or when the regular season starts, then start looking at it. So don't be surprised to see Pop doing 4 down. Maybe just Wemby, you're the point guard. And that's not stupid to say because he can do it. We see he has handles. He can, at 7'5" with shoes, he has handles. He can knock down the three. He can knock down the – we know all that stuff. So we'll see how Pop experiments with that. But, hey, we want to hear from you. What are you looking forward to at training camp? Is it Malachi? Is it the point guard spot? Is it just Wemby's integration to the league? Let us know. You can let Vinny know on Twitter at Vinzetta. And, of course, we are on Locked On Spurs on the YouTube side and also on the Kens 5 Plus app as well. But before we let Vinny go, some Spurs news that popped up late last week that out of nowhere. Remember Josh Primo, that whole saga incident? Well, the NBA did its own investigation, and they found that there was conduct detrimental to the league. In a press release, the NBA said that Primo did maintain that it was accidental. Nevertheless, they just said that still was behavior. They did find something there, Vinny. He will be suspended 4 games without pay should he return to the NBA. To me, this is a sign that a team is probably going to give him a shot.
Well, look, it was a sad saga that happened to him and the Spurs organization. I haven't ever openly said, I hope this guy goes away. I mean, he's so young. I guess, I'd be happy to see him have a career and get back in the league and have an opportunity. It was such a bizarre set of circumstances that a very talented player is no longer with this organization. And that's very disappointing because he's a really good, talented player. So it was a chapter in Spurs basketball that none of us saw coming. None of us could have ever predicted this would have gone down. But if he's going to have the opportunity to work his way back into the league and maybe do everything the right way and have a career, then good for him.
Yeah, there has been video of resurfacing of him in practice sessions with other NBA players. So perhaps that's another sign that he could be on his way back. Some team may have given him a shot. But look, good luck to him. If he does return, he'll pay his penance when he gets back into 4 games without pay, with whatever team he gets. But, for you, for me, for Spurs fans across the globe, that day was almost like, where were you when that happened? That's what it
I remember like. Where I was.
Yeah. Where were you?
I was working on my foster adoption series, a Forever Family series, when I saw the news came down. So yeah, I remember it was I was working on that story. I kept refreshing my phone, looking for emails and updates. I'm like, what is this story? What is happening here?
Yeah. I remember I was at my desk working, and I got the email, and I thought it was like a fake email. I didn't believe it. I really, honestly didn't believe it. I thought, somebody's trying to scam me or something. And then next thing you know, it starts popping up more and more. And major outlets started saying, I was like, oh my God, this is real. This is legit.
What we are here in this country, we are a second chance country. We forgive and we give people new opportunities if they do the right thing. So I'm all for him getting another opportunity to do the right things and be a good NBA basketball player, but also the right kind of person. So rooting for him.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully he'll land on his 2 feet. Looks like that might be a possibility. Again, nothing confirmed, but this is perhaps a sign that he could be making his way to the NBA. And good luck to him. And again, we're done talking. Yes. What are your thoughts about the Primo situation? Let us know on Twitter at Vinzetta for Vinny. And speaking of Vinny, he is the sports reporter for Kens 5. Vinny, I know Spurs is going to be dominating the airwaves soon. And of course, your life and my life, but what else is cooking? I know Cowboys are in action, Rangers. What's going on?
Yeah, we're going to have both the Rangers and the Astros in the MLB postseason. That's exciting, and football season rolls forward. as well, in the middle of all the Spurs insanity with high school, college, and the Cowboys. So yes, there's not, as you know, there's not really a month better in the calendar year for sports than the month of October. It
Absolutely.
is straight insanity. Buckle your seatbelts, get something to eat, and try to find some time for you, because it is sports crazy. And I would even say that too about November. So we're in a fun stretch. Absolutely. Let's go.
Yeah. By the way, thumbs up, thumbs down on the Rock, Lock on Terror. You saw the little preview. Did you like it?
Love it. Now, I will say quickly, I've been in my 8 years in the business here. I've been through a lot of facility tours, but what I'm excited about is the upgrades or what's being built for fans outside.
Oh, nice.
The area with the splash pad and the big screen where people can come chill out and watch games, and there'll be areas for kids to play. That's what I think is going to be really awesome. But what I did love about the inside tour is they really tried to build this thing, as I'm sure Casey told you, with the Spurs culture and the Spurs way to really make every player involved in the organization feel like nobody does it better than the way we do it here. So it's beautifully built. It's just perfect, and it's state of the art, and it will be the blueprint that other teams will follow down the road moving forward.
Yeah. Casey said last Friday on Locked On Spurs that they even brought back the coffee gang, theme. There's a coffee bar in there. That it's there. So that's a really nice touch that they did. Hey, again, everybody. The Wemby era begins. Training camp starts tomorrow. We'll likely break down what happened in media day tomorrow. Casey and I will be handling that and give you what happened, what didn't happen, what should have happened, who said what, all that good stuff. And then, of course, get you ready for more training camp coverage right here on Locked On Spurs. Also on the Kens 5 Plus app, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify. The list goes on and on. You guys are the everydayers. Again, we'll be back with more Spurs coverage tomorrow. So for Vinnie Vinzetta, I am Jeff Garcia. Well, you know what? He's the Vin dog. The dog. For the dog, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.